All right, welcome everybody. We've brought back webinars for 2026, and today we've got customer fulfillment. What we really are trying to get to at the bottom of today is understanding special orders and back orders. And to get us started off, we've got Charlene, who's our Director of Professional Services here at Windward Software. I'm going to go ahead and take it away.
Yes, for sure. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for taking the 30 minutes out of your day to join us. We're really excited about this new launch of virtual events in 2026. And I'm going to just take a minute and share with you where that's coming from. We have gone through a bit of a journey of webinars and workshops in the past. And, post-COVID, we went back to live in-person events. You can see an image there of one of our colleagues that is presenting at Dallas Market Center. And, those events have always resulted in a lot of positive feedback from our customers about the experience and about the content. And, we recently were thinking about it and recognized that it's not always easy for people to get to a live event. There is staffing challenges, there's cost, you have to travel to get there, and that's not always easy to do. And we really see the value in the content that we're presenting at these workshops, and some of those topics that we're going to be talking about today and through 2026, they really were topics that floated to the top, and they were high value to our customers. And we wanted to be able to do something that provided that value regardless of where you are and your ability to come to a live event, and bring it to you in a format that is a low time commitment, a low cost, and you're still going to get the value. So that's really where this is coming from. We haven't done something like this in a couple of years. And so we want to bring it back. And what we're going to experience today is a webinar that's going to introduce a topic of customer fulfillment. So this is something that is really quite popular with the live events. And we see lots of aha moments where, customers are saying, oh, I didn't realize I could do that. And we really want to drive home the workflows that we have in System 5 that allow you to do that. And then once we get through the webinar, you'll see that we do have a workshop plan, which is a bit of a deeper dive. So we're going to go into the value that we can bring through our workflows and customer fulfillment, and then we'll talk to you at the end about a workshop that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Okay, so in the next 30 minutes, what are we focusing on? Well, we're focusing on fulfillment. So we can't always have the product that our customers want in the store cash and carry. If you think about just-in-time inventory so that you're saving your cash flow, that requires the ability to be able to order something in for your customer. And that's really what we're focusing on today with two really powerful topics, special orders and back orders. And who should be attending? Well, honestly, anybody, but really it's anybody that's involved in the customer fulfillment journey. So if you think about going into a store, and I can walk into Canadian Tire and I can purchase something, but if you have something that's specific that you need and it's not there, well, what you're looking for is, when can I get it? Because it's important to me. So we want to be able to streamline that workflow in System 5 so you've got the information that you need to give the best customer experience. And that's really the benefits that we're talking about, is that amazing customer experience. That in this competitive market is really what we're after, all of us. Actually, we didn't touch on that. I'm just going to divert for a second on questions. We jumped right in. So if you do have questions, there is a question icon at the very top right. I think there's a question mark on it. So you can go ahead and type your questions in there if you do have anything that you'd like addressed, and then we can address those at the end. And if we don't have time, we will be certain to give you a response after the event. So the proven impact. When we're talking about efficiencies around the customer fulfillment workflow, I'm going to be demonstrating something that we have in the system, and it taps onto the special order workflow, and that's subtype staging. And the reason I bring that up is that we did some work for a customer a number of years ago, and when I was working with them on this subtype staging, they were able to see a reduction in delivery timelines to their customers by 30%, and that was within the first month of deploying this new process. So what we're really driving for is not just a general workflow. We're really looking for ways to be able to help with efficiencies so that you have a great customer experience with your customers. Okay, so where we're going to start with special orders. Special orders, depending on your industry, they can be highly utilized, but why would you use them? So using them is really around managing stock that you don't normally carry. So I'm sure you all have vendors, and perhaps you have a catalog that your vendor can provide to you about things that are available to you, but you're not carrying everything in your store. And that makes sense. That to me is where you're going to want to use a special order, because it's not something you normally carry. You may bring it in for a single customer and never use it or order it again. So that's to me what we're calling a non-stock item. And then there's customizable items. So, you go into a furniture store, you could just buy what's on the floor, but you could also request that in a different color or a different fabric. Those things are specific, and then it becomes that true special order. When we don't have the risk there is that when you have things like this, because they're not the norm, they can lead to errors. So we talk about the workflow and really keeping it nice and tight so that things don't get misplaced. And we're going to talk about in the workflow when I demonstrate this, what that actually means. How can you prevent misses or selling that product to somebody else? The way that we're going to do that is we're going to walk through special ordering of a miscellaneous part. So as I talked about with the with a parts catalog that you might have from your supplier, there may be products in there that you will never order. I'm sure of it. There are products that you can order, and instead of creating that part in your system for everything that you may never order again and kind of bloating your inventory list, we can do something that is a very unique workflow, and you special order a miscellaneous part. And it's a single part that we use to be able to do that special order, and you don't have to create the part in your system. We're also going to look at special order reporting. How do I get notified of the product that has arrived, and also notifications and some status tracking on let me know. So I placed the order with my vendor, it's now received. How do I get that into my customer's hands as quickly as possible? Okay, so we're going to switch over into a live demo. I'm just going to bring up a version of System 5 on the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with that special order of that miscellaneous part. Now, I'm not there yet to be able to ask a poll to see if everybody is using the virtual warehouse, but I do want to let you know that the virtual warehouse is a database that allows you to store a digital catalog. So if your vendor has that ability to provide you with a digital catalog, we can load that into System 5. So I'm just going to pull a report here, and it's going to show you some sample data that is from, it's made up, but it's using content that is information about LumenWorks lighting and Brimco supplies. So this is not in your active inventory, but it is accessible to you in System 5. So I just wanted to let you see that, and then we're going to go through a workflow demonstration about special orders. Okay, so special orders is always going to start with a brand new sale, and it's going to be a work order because it's a work in progress. And I'm going to talk a little bit about these subtypes here. So this is the subtype workflow that I was referring to, where that customer realized a 30% reduction in the delivery time. These are customizable. So I created these subtypes with the example that as a business, I offer the ability to special order product for my customer, and it can be delivered or it can be picked up by the customer. So by identifying these subtypes, we can start out with the customer saying, okay, well, they would like it to be delivered. It's a large piece. We're going to have it delivered. That is a tag against this work order. And what's going to happen as we go through this workflow is that we are going to receive the product in, and it's going to automatically move that subtype into ready for delivery, allowing for a specific reporting that becomes kind of a worksheet for a person in your team to be able to say, okay, we need to get this scheduled onto a truck. Okay, so we're going to set this out. Our customer wants this to be delivered. And Mr. Idle is going to be ordering a product. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be calling on products that are from the catalog. So that catalog is sitting in the virtual warehouse that I just showed you. Perhaps in store you have the customer looks online at a product that they want, or maybe there's even a paper catalog. I'm not sure these days, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to select an item. So this is something that's in our virtual warehouse, not something in our active inventory. We've never used it before, but we do have the visual representation of virtual warehouse being this icon in the left-hand column under multi-select. You can also see that it's very grayed out, and we have no quantities. So that's your indicator that this is something we've never used before. So our customer wants to purchase the table leg set. We're going to select that because we're having a conversation with the customer. We know that's what they want, and we're going to bring that in. And it's going to allow us to special order. So that prompt comes up automatically. That's a configuration saying if you're ordering something from the virtual warehouse, you've never ordered it before, clearly you don't have it in stock, we are going to order 2 of these. And we can queue that special order. One thing that I'd like to note is you can see on the screen that we have the part number as the FUR-0013, but if I come into the inventory itself, it has not created a part. It's actually using a single part that we use called a miscellaneous part, and that part is always used when we do this workflow. This is how we prevent the product or loading a number of part numbers into our active inventory when we don't need them. So here you can see that we've got this part number. It's just identified as special order or SO, and that part is used over and over again. So we don't have to create parts just to order them from our vendor. Okay, so now we know that this is a special order. We're just going to quickly go through the workflow of placing that purchase order. So when we have special orders, this might shift over to another person as far as the purchasing. We have a few different ways of being able to do that. When it's a special order, it's often just, we're going to create the special order. It's specific for this customer. It's a single purchase order. And that's the workflow that I'm going to walk through. There is another way of doing it, and that's the required orders report. That's a more robust report that would be picking up everything that you need to place onto a purchase order. So your highs and lows, if you have them set, back orders and special orders. But for this workflow, we're just going to go through and create a new purchase order. Within the purchase order, it's going to be give us the orders that are in play for this particular supplier, LumenWorks Lighting. So here we can see the 2-leg set, and we're just going to add this to the special order. Okay, now it's just a regular purchase order. We can see that it's highlighted in green as a visual, letting us know that it's special order. And we'll go ahead and send this purchase order. The printing of the special order information on the purchase order may be relevant. It's a nice feature. Not sure if the vendor needs to know that, if it's coming back to you and you're going to deliver it. So, all right, so now we're going to edit the purchase order to bring it in. Time has passed. We're now bringing in the special order. So we're receiving 2, and at this point, we can print labels. Because they're special ordered items, in what we're trying to prevent is the product from being given to somebody else. We'll just, at the time of receiving, print some, actually I think I chose the wrong one, I'm sorry. No, I didn't. The shipping labels. So these at the time of receiving can be placed onto the product. It's on a will call section of your warehouse, or it's in a certain area and they've got labels on it, and that prevents it from being given to somebody else. So we know that it's for Billy Idol. We've got his address, and we're going to talk about next the notifications. What do I do with it next now that it's received? So again, perhaps we have somebody in the warehouse that is doing the receiving. It's in, they printed the labels, it's sitting on the shelf. It may be somebody else's job to contact that customer, schedule the delivery. It may be the person in the warehouse. So what tools do we have? Well, we have a couple of reports. We have a special order report. And this special order report is pretty multi-purpose. But if we look at product that has arrived but has not yet been invoiced, meaning the product's here, but we haven't completed that transaction yet, that's what's going to give us the information that we need. So here we've got, here's Billy Idol's Lego set. You can see I've done this a few times. So from this report, it becomes a worksheet. So you can drill in to each of these orders. Double clicking is going to take you into the invoice, and then you can do what needs to happen next. That could be scheduling a delivery. That could be calling the customer for pickup. This is why the phone number is there. In my demonstration, I'm talking about 2 different options. So this is a useful report to be able to get you through what's the next step, and then build it into your workflow. The other is we can choose to do an invoice report. This invoice report is actually going to call on those subtypes that I shared when we first created that work order. And because we're looking at work orders, we're going to want this to be a date range, because it depends on how long it takes for your product to come in. Once you place the order, the work order could be 3 weeks behind, and now the product has arrived. It depends on, your time for delivery. But that being said, I've got some customized reports that we could say, okay, well, let's see what is ready for delivery. And again, this can be part of a team member's workflow where they come in the morning and they run this invoice report. What has arrived that is ready for delivery? And this becomes the content that needs to go onto the truck. One thing that I didn't do in this demonstration is that in the settings, you can also list out the parts that are on each of these orders so that you know exactly what needs to get put on the truck.
All right, Charlie, just a little time check here. We're 20 minutes in already.
I know, I'm aware. Thank you. Okay, so that is the special orders. Let's talk a little bit about back orders. I will say with back orders, they serve a different purpose. The back orders really are for product that you regularly order. It's not special, it's not unique, something that you just don't have stock in and you don't want to turn your customer away. So a back order follows a very similar workflow. It's just not quite as, there's some more flexibility at the end, but they don't have the bells and whistles like the subtypes and that type of thing. So let's just quickly run through a back order. And just to note, like the information, I am going very quickly through this, but I'm hoping that if you hear something that is meaningful, it's like, oh, okay, that fits with what I'd like to explore. That's really what we're trying to do, is that show the capabilities of the system. Okay, so here is, we're going to select this hockey targets. Okay, and then we're going to get the pop-up. We're going to back order this. And once we back order it, how do we get it onto a purchase order? This is where the power of the required orders report really comes in. And up here, if we run the required orders report, that's going to pull in all of that information. So items that are on back order, I've excluded special orders today, but if we just run this, it's going to bring in, and imagine, if you will, that you've got back orders of a number of different things. You've got some replenishment that you need to do for your min-max quantities. And it's going to bring it all together and allow you to create the purchase orders from this report. So it is an efficiency process, I guess. So here's the hockey targets, and then it just allows us to create the purchase order right from here. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the process of purchasing that and receiving it, although it's brought me here. So I will do the quick send, but let's just jump forward to when the back orders are received in. What is my indicator? How do I know? And really with back orders, although I gave two options with special orders, with back orders, it's the back order report. And that's the beauty of the back orders, is that it really provides the flexibility of identifying where you want to allocate the stock. Special orders, it's allocated based on the work order. Back orders lets you look at what's fillable, and then I get to decide as a team member where I want that to be allocated. This report is it's a slower report because it does need to go through all orders, identify that they're work orders, and then match that up with stock that has been brought in. You'll notice that I triggered the high priority. Just a note for anybody that caught that. If you're using that for report performance, it's a great feature to speed up the report. It will cause impact to other users. So I'm using it today because we are short on time, but just be aware that that does impact other users if you take the resources. Okay, so this report for back orders, you can see that we've got stock and it's ready to ship. And then this is the, again, like a worksheet. So you're going to use this to either fill individually, one by one, or we've got the fill all at the top. And that does that, it's less automated. Special orders automates the process and fills the work order. The back orders, you need to actually do that. And that could be based on date. It could be based on customer loyalty. Let's say that the product that was received in, there wasn't enough to satisfy the demand. So you can make decisions about how you want to allocate the stock. Okay, so a couple of things just before we come to the bottom of the half hour. Just coming back to the special orders. So the special orders, we talked about the two methods of being able to identify what's in stock. I do want to give a bit of a spoiler alert for our next general release, and that is when you are doing a special order, we have new functionality that will be coming in the general release that provides an instant notification. So you know how when we received the special order stock, it allocated it directly back to that work order for the customer? It's still going to do that, of course, but what we have is a new feature that pops up a menu in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It's called a toast pop-up because it pops up like a piece of toast. And it's going to notify the salesperson that the order, a special order, has arrived. I can't show you the pop-up, but I can show you what it does for the individual salesperson is that it sends them an office mail. I bet you many of you don't even use this. It's like a tucked in little feature that is internal only to System 5, but in the office mail, they are also going to receive an email like this. And so this is, again, it's upcoming in a general release, so it's still in testing, but what it's going to give that salesperson for the work order is this information. We've got the invoice number, it will have the part number, and then it's got the purchase order number. So it's more of a proactive, here's a notification that you have product in for your customer. That's a highly requested feature in our customer base, and we are excited to have that come in our next general release. Okay, so I've got two more things to talk about, and then we can open it up for questions. I know it's really tight, but I did want to provide a couple of tips for just general usage. So the first tip is, see how the top menu bar, and some of you may be using this and be aware, but this top menu bar, I've customized it specifically for today's webinar. And the way I did that was through something called a quick list. Now the quick list, if you're not aware of it, it customizes this top menu ribbon, and you can have it specific to individuals. So as a salesperson, I would like quick access to the things that I do regularly every day. New sale, edit sale, maybe a customer lookup. And what we're doing is we're saving clicks. So the reason I did it for today is because I didn't want to be sifting through the menu, finding an item, and when you're watching, there's just a lot of clicking going on. It really does provide less clicks to use the quick list. So at the bottom here by the search bar, you've got a customize button. When you customize, you can open up this quick list with a double click, and you can customize this. I can take things off by highlighting and deleting, or I can search through the menu with double clicks in the customized mode, and I can choose to add customers by highlighting, right-clicking, and adding this to the quick list. Once I save, I now have customers in my quick list. So that's a really fun feature. The other is customizing of grids. Again, trying to save clicks. What we're doing is I'm just going to pull up an edit item. So when we customize a grid, I'm talking about a grid that is prevalent throughout System 5. A grid is anything with rows and columns. So your invoices, purchase orders, inventory lookup here. If we're wanting to be efficient in the way that we do our workflows, a right click on any grid, customize, and then you can choose to add in columns that are meaningful. Let's say you're using the size fields for inventory. You might want to add those in. Or do we need category to be in there? Is that important? If it's not, you can choose to hide it. And again, that is customized by individual. So we say okay, and that takes that out. So those are just a couple of little tricks that you can use to reduce the clicks in your workflows within System 5. And I hope that's meaningful. If you'll have just a few more minutes, we can talk about some resources for you. So within resources available to you, there's the Windward Self-Help. There is our knowledge base, and that's based on the experience in our customer care team, and a knowledge base continuously evolves. And then we also have the Windward Learning Academy that you can search for content in that platform to be able to find out more about what we talked about today. And then I guess lastly, let's talk about the next steps. If anybody is interested in the content that you saw today and having a deeper dive into what it is that we're talking about, that customer fulfillment, because there is, as you see, I talked really fast and we went through a lot. There is a lot that we can customize within the system to be able to match up with your workflow. So our workshop is March 5th. It starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and it's really going to offer a demonstration of what we talked about today, but just deeper. It's going to provide more context around the configuration. How do we get subtypes working? How do we do the different reporting and the things that will make sense for your specific workflow? Of course, there's going to be resources and that will be provided there. And beyond that, there is also the one-to-one. So as an example, when we do the live events, some people walk away saying, that's great, but I really want somebody to help guide me through this. And if that's something that's interesting to you, we offer that as well. So all of this content is going to be provided to you. Again, the workshop, our intention is to have it low time commitment. So we're talking 1 to perhaps 2 hours with some really solid content in a demonstration type presentation. And then the low cost. So we've got a self-serve virtual event purchase. Our events for the workshop is $79. We're trying to keep it really low so that people can attend and see what it feels like to be able to walk through that. And at the end of that, if you're interested now or interested at that time, once you go through the workshop, we also offer the one-on-one training. So I think we're a little bit past 1:30, but is there any questions that came up in the chat, Kyle, that we'd want?
There was just a couple here. One was the special order window didn't pop up for a person. I just let them know that the configuration would be covered in the workshop. And then the other one was about the back orders. Is there a way to only print the items being supplied on back order and not the whole work order? Was the question. I don't know if we have a really fast way of showing that or not, or
I'm not sure. So what are we talking, like printing just labels, or what are we? Yeah, I guess I'd have.
Yeah, I think they don't want the entire work order. They just want what the back ordered items were
to print out on the work order.
Yeah, I think we just need more information about it, but
yeah,
we can definitely answer that offline and get more answer or more clarity on what that actually is about. So,
okay.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. We were really excited to bring this back for this year. We're hoping that some of you will come to the workshop. You can go to windwardsoftware.com/training. It has all of the workshops and free webinars that are going to be occurring for the rest of the year. We've got the whole year planned out. We are looking at a possible live event in the Okanagan Valley, where our heart is from, sometime in September. We don't have a date set for that yet, so there's nothing really more to say on that just yet. It's just an idea, and we're really trying to get that into fruition. And we're looking for everybody to see us on March 5th.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming through this test run of our very first webinar. I hope it was valuable, and I appreciate your time and attendance.
Thanks, everybody.